Go ahead and call the conditional use hearing to order. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Fried.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a conditional use hearing with the applicant being Laborio Louviere. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much. This relates to a property at 339 West Uwchlan Avenue, bearing the UPI number 33737, consisting of 3.1 acres. The property is presently unimproved and is located in the township's planned commercial PC zoning district. The request is for conditional use relief under section 505.5B and 806 of the township zoning code to allow for self-storage facility on the property. There are a number of board exhibits that are part of this conditional use. Board Exhibit 1 is the conditional use application. Board Exhibit B1A is the conditional use plan. Board Exhibit B1B is the Chesco Views plan. Board Exhibit B1C is the zoning hearing board decision dated June 26th, 2024. Board Exhibit 2 is the hearing notice in the Daily Local. Board Exhibit 3 is the proof of publication from January 26, 2025 and February 3rd, 2025. Board Exhibit 4 is abutting property owners notified of proceedings. Board Exhibit 5 is the E.B. Walsh review letter dated January 27, 2025. Board Exhibit 6 is the Bowman review letter dated January 27, 2025. Board Exhibit 7 is the Gannett Fleming review letter dated January 13th, 2025. Board Exhibit 8 is the Thurkoff design review letter dated January 30th, 2025. Board Exhibit 9 is the Fire Marshal review comments dated January 28, 2025. And lastly, Board Exhibit 10 is the draft Planning Commission meeting minutes dated February 5th, 2025. Does the applicant have any objection to those exhibits? Okay, so the exhibits will be accepted as part of the record. Just doesn't look like we have too many people here, but for the record, I'll just go through and see if there's anyone who would like to have party status very briefly. Party status is available to people who might be impacted by the use. It allows a person to fully participate in the hearing. It allows you to cross-examine witnesses, present a case, and testify on the record. However, you do not need to be a party to provide public comment, which would occur at the end of the hearing. However, that said, if you're not a party, you can't appeal, although being a party does not necessarily guarantee that you can appeal to the Court of Common Pleas if you're unhappy with the results. So with that said, is there anybody here tonight that would like party status? Seeing none, I will now turn this over to the applicant.
Which is the owner of the Southern Property located here in the Avenue. My wife's into his background that in 2023, and two separate versions of the same property, two separate zoning districts. In order to clarify what we came before as a board in August of 2023, and one gracious enough to grant our request to rezone the property so it's entirely able to pay commercial district. How it stands today. In May of 2024, we went for the Township Zoning Hearing Board because we required some zoning relief, specifically variance relief, related to rear and side yard setbacks, as well as to the height of the building. Zoning Hearing Board granted us that relief. So now we are here before you requesting conditional use relief because of the way the zoning ordinance with respect to the PC district is worded. Specifically, it does not allow a self-storage use by right, but it does allow by conditional use any use as determined by the Board of Supervisors to be of the same general character as the permitted use. There is in fact on the adjacent property, a self-storage facility, which is significantly larger than what we're proposing. So we are respectfully requesting that the board take the position that what we're proposing is of the same or similar use as what already exists in the district. The property is approximately 80 feet wide, so it's unusually narrow. On top of that, it has a riparian buffer zone running through a significant portion of the property. It also has steep slopes to the southern end of the property. The net result of these, I'll say, unique characteristics are that there's really only one practical location for this proposed facility, and it's really the northern end of the property, as you'll see depicted on one of our exhibits, which is the zoning plan A5. The property is also naturally wooded, so the proposed building is going to be naturally screened and buffered by those existing woods to the extent there's concern about view shed from adjacent properties. And one of the conditions imposed by the Building Hearing Board attendant to the relief we received is that the applicant is required to install sufficient plantings to screen the front of the property to the satisfaction of the zoning officer. So that's something we are already bound to do by virtue of the condition imposed by the zoning. So that's where we are by way of background. With that, I'll call my client, Mr. Louis Maruna. Mr. Maruna. Excellent.
You should have the testimony about people make the truth, particularly about
Please say your full name, spelling your first and last in order.
Louis, L-U-I-S, Marina, and
And you manage a company and name Laboria Reavers LLC?
yes,
And are you, do you have a partial ownership stake in that company?
yes,
Okay, and are you here on behalf of that company with the consent of the other company?
yes,
Is this company the owner of the subject property of tonight's application, 339 Elizabeth Manor? Did you hear the recitation and by way of background that I gave to the board just now?
yes,
Did you agree with what I said? Do you want to acknowledge what I said as your testimony as well as the testimony you're about to give? Okay. I'm going to direct your attention to A2, listen to it, which is deed of the property. And that is the deed that shows your company's purchase of the property in 2001. Records in 3D. That is the area photo of the property, correct?
correct,
And does that photograph generally show your property and its general characteristics?
yes,
Property as of today is currently under, correct?
correct,
And you are further to build a self-storage building on property.
yes,
Do you or your company, do they own and operate other self-storage facilities?
yes,
5. Can you generally describe the square feet these other self-storage facilities that you own and operate are?
30,000, 33,000, 45,000, 47,000, 53,000,
So, and approximately how many square feet is this proposed facility?
30,000,
Yeah, so it's really on the lower end of the scale of the facilities you own and operate.
yes,
Now, is it economically viable, in your experience in the area, to have a building less than 30,000 square feet?
it would be pushing liability. I mean, you have to amortize your manager cost and also your site costs, a lot of fixed costs.
So you're thinking that 30,000 square feet is about. What would the hours of proposed operation be again? When we're in Grand Rooms?
Most of our sites are 10 or 5.
10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay. How many employees would be working at the facility when you get out?
Just one.
Can you describe the type of noise in your experience that's generated by this type of self-storage facility?
You would have noise, you have very little traffic, like 5 to 10 cars that people have.
Okay. And when are the peak times of use?
Well, Saturday evenings and Fridays, sometimes depending on the demographic. You pick up people paying on Fridays, it's not payday. So, Saturdays and Probably, toward the end of the.
Fair to say then that it would not have any real interference with traffic generated by a school that is in close proximity to the subject.
Well, especially if the school gets all like free, I mean.
Not so the school or no. And in your experience, did self-storage use have any negative impacts on the enjoyment of adjacent properties?
I think they're a lot less impacted with conventional uses, mostly uses.
Sure. I don't have any further questions for Mr.
Board have any questions?
I do not.
Any public comment or question? Any public question? All right, thank you.
Ross, you stated before I first and last support order. Don Matthew Robinson, Jimmy Lee Chen, ROB, right hand, this, Robinson, Pleasant, Victoria. Yes, she looks destiny. The owner as well. What's the limit of the point that you're on that alley? Civil engineering firm, when J1, and are you a licensed here in Colorado, Pennsylvania? Yes, you're also in Colorado legal certification. And within hours of it, that's the good day. Just on the stating is that CV or resume. Not contained to your professional and academic credentials, right? Yes. Okay. Have you testified as an expert in the field of civil engineering in the past? Yes. Okay. And what is over hearing boards and board of supervisors such as this one? I think the board has any questions for Mr. Ross, and I'm sure he's happy to answer them, but my intention to fall on expert in the field. So.
Board have any questions?
No.
Board will accept the witness as an expert in civil engineering.
Mr. Robinson, you're familiar with the property located in 339 West Uwchlan Ave? Yes. Have you been to the property yourself? Yes. Did you or members of your engineering form a survey of the property and then some create a site plan which depicts the outings proposed there? Yes. And is that what I want as exhibit 85? Yes. Were you able to briefly walk us through the site plan and describing for the board of supervisors the property and then the proposed improvements? The property is rather long, as you described earlier, and to the plan right, there's the east is the far right, and to the east or the northeast side of the site, the right rear plan is the Uwchlan Hills Elementary School. To the very rear is the Uwchlan Hills property with the essentially woods. And to the west side is an existing storage facility that is, well, for the exterior style storage. You can drive up to your unit. Okay. And develops the actual. The improvements for proposed are business, the driveway that's going to be located right across the road from the web road is going to be the driveway with access to property, and the building located to the rear amenities, one of which is you see the shaded area is in the front of the site, which are some steep slopes. They're man-made and we're allowed to disturb them. However, they present a grade differential when they're building a difficult place to building, especially one that a commercial building like this with people on a slab. Very difficult place right there. As well as the stream location, you can see on the left side of the plan toward the front, there's sort of there's a dimension line, you'll see it's on the left part of the plan. That dimension is going off the stream. The stream, there's a stream that runs on the west side of this property, and that stream is actually gets onto this property and is closest to this property in that front area. So and then the stream kind of converts away, so they lay an upper left corner of the site. and runs all sites. So this stream is nearest to the front, and so we're trying to avoid any impact near the stream itself. But as you move further back, you have this diagonal area, or kind of in the center of the site, you see these diagonal lines, along the right. The diagonal line are actually drops in sewer. With sewer running right through the concrete, you can't build it. You can build a private way or paving, but you can't build a building without a sewer line, of course. So that presents another constraint. So we located a building to the rear of the sewer utility. And that is the most logical location also for grade. It's very flat back there. The grade it works well for a lot of reasons. There are some wetlands that we have to deal with though. And we stay off the stream the best we can, and we actually, all together, we stay off the stream and we prefer the wetlands that are lightly along the stream. But there are some uphill wetlands that are probably mostly in the full district over the years that have developed on the upward region of the site, which is kind of unusual. The sewer line that I mentioned in one diagonal, that's like the bottom line. Anything uphill the sewer line to the right of it, there are some wetlands, but there's no wetland over the sewer line because they probably have done it up over the years since nobody gets sewer in, they're gone. So then they're kind of like uphill island and wetland up there that we will have to address PET. So that is our main goal of this site. Nevertheless, though, the building in the back is located in the best location possibly, given all the training.
Let's discuss the zoning of the property. The property is in the PC zone district, correct?
Yes.
The PC does not permit storage units by right, but it does permit any other use as determined by the Board of Supervisors to be in the same general as the permitted uses, correct? The property adjacent to the subject property currently contains a larger self-storage facility, correct?
Yes.
And some of the permitted by right uses in the PC district are retail establishments, restaurants, personal service shops, passenger stations for public transportation, office buildings, self-service laundry and dry cleaning establishments, and cannabis dispensaries, correct?
Yes.
Do you believe that this proposed self-storage use is of the same general character as the uses?
Most certainly.
And you mentioned that there is an existing sanitary sewer that runs through the property in a diagonal section.
Yes.
And can you tell us whether or not the proposed building is going to be over top of that sanitary sewer in any way?
Well, not please.
And is it out of the sanitary sewer easement area as well?
Yes.
Given you talk about the existing characteristics of the property, do you believe that there's any viable way to construct a facility at a location other than what's depicted on A5?
No, this is really the only optimal location, really the only site.
And we being the applicant, we obtained variance relief from the Township Zoning Hearing Board with respect to the proposed facility as generally shown in the correct? Correct. And A6 in the packet. Right. And that is the zoning hearing board decision order that was issued by the Township Zoning Hearing Board, right?
Yes.
The zoning hearing board determined that which notified the variance for that itself.
Yes.
How was the surrounding properties are this may be used? Do you believe that the proposed use on the subject property would have any negative impact on the surrounding properties or the neighborhood or change the character?
No, I think
What makes you say that?
Number one, there's already a self-storage facility next door, so they're the same type of use, however, this is a different type of self-storage facility, so I think about offering could see where the different options for the environment styles, indoor styles, so it's the same but different, so I think offers the local community and a different way.
Similar question, but slightly different. I have to get through some of the criteria of the ordinance. Is the size, scope, and character of the proposed use generally consistent with the intent of the zone? Yes, so why would you say that?
Because there is a storage facility next door already, there are other districts and two blocks together, let's do the strip center. The property can be used right, use the whole lot, you all come up with uses there that are similar.
Do you believe that for use on the subject property is general public interest, will serve the general public interest, will serve public health and welfare? It will, where do you say that?
So the facility like this will, ways, I guess there's generation that will provide an option that store, you also, in the flow where it's, is it going to apply usage, the number of vehicles, I believe it was 3 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, it's a total of 8 trips for a facility like this. And it's only operated during the day and then closed and everything, so I think it's about as quiet a usage as you can get.
Do you believe that the proposed use would have any negative impact on the school use to the east?
I think it'd be operating as mentioned earlier, opposite, you know, and without it's very likely that there's a fair amount of woods in the and this facility that's there will still be there.
In the plan, does it reflect the maintenance or preservation of existing wooded areas on that eastern property line where possible?
Yes, and we'll be preserving as much as we can, and then we'll be adding trees back, and I'm sure along that.
There is a residential neighborhood about 500 feet or so to the north. Do you believe that this use would have any negative impact on that?
They want to be able to see the site. I think you're getting from the same section, but Route 113, excuse me, to be honest, it's so far back and with the bit of green is, I think you're going to be able to see it from the river very well.
Has the applicant agreed to pay a contribution to the township in lieu of performing the otherwise required fiscal impact study as permitted under section 806.4 F of the zoning ordinance? And has a phase 1 environmental report been performed with respect to the property?
Yes.
Okay, and I have attached this exhibit A7 in one exhibit package, and only one, it's about 300 pages.
Oh,
I'm not mistaken.
no,
But having too far into the weeds, were there any pollutants or environmental conditions identified in that report that would trigger any action or require remediation under applicable federal or state law?
No, I think the only thing was the traffic site we can go. I don't know if that was all.
Okay, and do you understand it to be the applicant's intention to clean up any trash in the center?
Yes.
That's the Mr.
Board have any questions?
I do not.
I don't. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Grant you on. Ronnie, please state your full name, spell your first and last name for the board.
I certainly can. It's Frank Tovani, Frank, T-A-V as in Victor, A-N.
And Mr. Giovanni, in your exhibit packet, I'll direct attendance specifically at A8, when you're there, and tell them that, current problem, receive your.
Indeed, it is.
Okay, fine. If you, does that accurately say you're at that inspection for any of the qualifications?
It does.
Okay, have you been admitted to testify as an expert before in the field of traffic engineering?
Yes.
Approximately how many times?
Okay, I've been in practice since 1993, continuous practice since 1993. Self-employed since 2004. I've been in this county and many others, you can check your county and throughout the Commonwealth since.
You say quite a few times when people are, how many times have testified as an expert in that field?
Working check.
Pretty good. Unless the board has any questions, I'd ask to have Mr. Timothy qualified as an expert in the field of traffic.
Board have any questions?
No.
Board will accept the witness as an expert in traffic engineering.
Mr. Would you prepare a report for the applicant in this matter in connection with his proposed self-storage facility at 339 West Uwchlan Ave?
Yes.
And that traffic report that you prepared, is that what I heard is exhibit A9?
You did.
Okay. Director, did you have a copy of the, sir?
Of course.
Okay. For director, attention to page 2 of the report, specifically the paragraph existing traffic conditions. What was the really charge of existing traffic conditions at the time?
So A9 was a traffic study, traffic impact assessment, with many of the prepared over the years. Contains a few pages of text, 2 pages of figures, and several pages of appendix material. And on page 2 of A9, there is a description of what is ostensibly the first step of any traffic study, which is data collection or traffic costs, as you need. So page 2 is A9 describes that on Thursday, 21 November 2024, and performed the traffic counts along Route 113 during the customary weekday morning and afternoon year peak periods. That was done to determine what existing traffic volumes were like along the street in front of us.
And is the data that you collected during this exercise reflected in your report?
Indeed it is.
And once you calculated the existing traffic conditions of the property, would you then be able to have the impact of the traffic that would be generated by the proposed facility?
Essentially, yes. The first step after collecting the count data is to determine what the existing levels of service are like. Levels of service are a descriptive mechanism traffic engineers use to relate quality of traffic flow to some figures like delay or letter grade. And on page 2 of A9, there's a description that essentially the intersection of Route 113 Greenwich Village, which is directly opposite proposed access, to all performance in level service A, although Webb Road itself does operate at some delay during peak hours. Particularly the outbound left turn movement from Webb Road today, even without the sun, operates at level of service F during peak periods. But as council was mentioning, the next step was going to say, well, okay, so that's what the existing conditions like. What happens you add in the site traffic and the future? And one of the tools traffic engineers often use is a reference manual by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, the licensing called trip generation manual. In fact, that's witness made reference to the number of trips that this site will generate according to the IP and trip generation manual. It's also found on page 2 of A9 at the bottom, and indeed it's a very small one. 3 total trips, 2 in and 1 out during AM peak, and 5 according to POP. And I should state that, to my opinion, this might actually overstate the amount of traffic that 30,000 square foot storage facility generates. And that's because a lot of the facilities, as we heard from the first witness, are often bigger than this. And a lot of the empirical data that ITV collected for this particular land use code seems to be centered around sites that are large. We get kind of away from the sweet spot of the empirical data. Sometimes it skews things one way or the other. And you're probably going to be one employee almost all the time at this site. And that employee is going to arrive in the morning and be just getting the trains. That's only 1 trip in the morning, maybe 1 hour. Okay. And it's really going to be 4 more trips than part of the age. That would be the patrons and stuff. So again, probably works here. But nevertheless, it's like a specific if you continue throughout the rest of the report, it essentially says what I next did is I took that trip generation estimate and distributed that along with 113 arriving and knowing. I redid the level of service calculation and summarized all that, and I handed the whole service completion to in fact, at the end of the report. And if you look at the dashed line, on the top of that, so you hold on page 6, you'll see that the overall level of service is an A today, in the morning and the afternoon, and it remains an A in the afternoon. And also, through the PennDOT road, it's an SR state roadway, and although obviously the township played a very important role in the fire process, all their radiuses PennDOT's jurisdiction, whatever has to be, a roadway or highway, see permit, it's an E that is issued, and PennDOT will review the outline of the applicant and determine whether or not things like turn lane or right turn lane or 113 are warranted. We already looked into that and found that a tool, the metric that PennDOT recommends, shows that those lanes are not. But we're still meeting PennDOT and looking up the details. At the end of the day, the amount of traffic that we're adding, this is proved, is a fraction of the amount of traffic that exists already. Presently, the better part of 2,000 trips during the PM peak hour. We will do add 5, which again, I think is an overstatement. That's less than 1% of the amount of traffic that currently exists. There have been traffic studies done over the years that show just the normal variation in traffic from day to day, as this traffic is wise, is about 10%. So it's a normal variation in traffic. This is less than 1% of minus. The average motorist won't even notice whether or not this site is operating, much less enjoy or suffer through any difference in delay or performance. So I know I kind of skipped through between some of the direct testimony custom, but at the end of the day, this is nothing. This is not critical notice. It's not going to have any meaningful impact. I don't expect to public health, safety, and welfare of any resident, any patron or any employee is something that matter. And we will continue what PennDOT is required to get the necessary permits.
I gotta ask at least one more question to justify our presence here. So based on the findings and conclusions contained in your report, in your expert opinion, sir, do you believe that this proposed facility could materially increase traffic congestions of the public roads and road intersections, providing access to and in the area of the subject?
I believe it will.
Thank you.
Board have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you.
I have no further witnesses or evidence specifically sufficient of its exhibits A1 or A9.
Board have any questions about the exhibits? Exhibits will be accepted. Are there any questions from the public? So we're going to close the record. The board does have the ability to deliberate in executive session. The Board of Supervisors has 45 days to prepare a written decision. It'll most likely be in 30 days because that'll probably coincide with the next meeting. My understanding is we'll take a vote at that meeting, at the next meeting, and issue a written decision at that time. An appeal may be filed with the Court of Common Pleas of Chester County within 30 days of the written decision. If no appeal is filed, the decision of the board becomes final. And with that, we will close the hearing.
Great. Thank you.